Hello fans and friends across the universe, and welcome to my YouTube channel From Me to You. My name's Keir Smith. For today's video, as you can tell from the bunch of albums that I've lovingly placed around me, I'd like to talk about Revolver by the Beatles. I've often shied away from talking about the Beatles and their masterful works on this channel because I figure that everything that could have been said about the Beatles has already been said, and besides there's loads of great YouTube channels out there that do it far better than me. And so I hope that this video will be slightly different. I won't do what I normally do, which is delve into each song and tell you all of the little bits that I like about each song. My idea for this video was for it to be more like a general overview of the songs. Maybe I'll talk about the idea for the song that bit more, or the lyrical content. I love this album and I love every song on it. It's not my favourite Beatles album. It's not even second or third. I'd probably rank it fourth. Can you believe that? But regardless of what I think, Revolver is of course widely regarded as a masterpiece, and rightly so for its innovation, diverse sounds and lyrical content. It expands the band's musical landscape and in turn the rest of the world. The Beatles engineer Geoff Emerick is quoted as saying, "I know for a fact that from the day it came out, Revolver changed the way that everyone else made records."
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
So I'll take you through each of the songs on Revolver now, starting with the brilliant opener, George's Taxman. George wags his finger at the UK tax system. George himself said that Taxman was when I first realised that even though we had started earning money, we were actually giving most of it away in taxes. I've always loved the lyrics to this song. I think it's done with good humour. Should 5% appear too small? Be thankful I don't take it all. And you're working for no one but me, Taxman. And some have said it's a bitter comment, but I rate George for saying it because taxes are a pain in the arse. We all agree on that, and they strangle good people's livelihoods. Right on, George. Oh, and good riff, and a scorching guitar solo too. Well done, Paul. On to the wonderful Eleanor Rigby. Eleanor Rigby died in the church and was buried along with her name. Nobody came. Heartbreakingly sad. Father Mackenzie wiping the dirt from his hands as he walks from the grave. No one was saved. And it's fictional, of course, but if you're in the line of work that Father Mackenzie is in, no one is saved. I guess all you ever see is people being buried. This is fantastic wordplay from Paul. And I've read that the other Beatles chipped in with words here and there for this song, but I'm not sure which words. But either way, a beautifully written song. And Paul, of course, sings it beautifully. And what a great idea. Do away with the band. Do away with the best band on the planet and just have George Martin's wonderful string accompaniment. A great idea. And it worked, of course. I'm Only Sleeping is next, and a standout track on the album for me. I just love the sound of this song, thanks in no small part to George's wonderful guitar work and that backwards guitar part. And John perfectly captures the languid and lazy feel of the song. Half acid dream, half laziness. I've read before that people have said that this song has an otherworldly feel to it, and I couldn't agree more. I've always liked the line when John sings, "Keeping an eye on the world going by my window. I'm taking my time." You know, just poking up, having a look about. Nah, nothing going on. I'll just slump in my seat here. And I've always considered myself to be a bit lazy. I've always thought that there's 100 things you could do, but as soon as you get up and decide to do something, it really does narrow your options. So sometimes it's better just to kick back and relax and imagine all the things that you could do. Anyway, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. I'm Only Sleeping, 10 out of 10. Perfect song. It justifies me being lazy. Love You Too. Wow. I mean, wow. It's the first time that I ever heard a song that made me think, what on earth was that? And I'm certain I've told this story before in a previous video, but it's worth repeating here. I remember it like it was yesterday, listening to Revolver for the first time. I was 14 years old, and I remember standing across the other side of the room and Love You Too came on, and I just looked over at the stereo as if to say, what on earth is going on? As if someone had just come in the room and changed the CD without me knowing. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was totally unexpected and something that I couldn't even imagine that I'd hear. I had no idea what was going on. Who was playing what instrument? Is it even the Beatles anymore? And of course, then I found out that George had been soaking up all of these Eastern influences. He'd been over to India and studied the sitar under Ravi Shankar, and he brought it all back home and turned it into popular song. And I love these lyrics from George. Each day just goes so fast. I turn around, it's past. You don't get time to hang a sign on me. I love this song. I think it's an astonishing piece of music, and special mention for the tabla player, Anil Bhagwat. Superb. Onto the gorgeous ballad, Here, There and Everywhere. The simple romance shines through the often cynical core of Revolver. And I wanted to point out that brilliant guitar part, that line that plays when Paul sings, and if she's beside me, I know I need never care. I love that bit. And the lyrics are so thoughtful and so pure. Here, making each day of the year. It sounds like a simple rhyme, but it's hard to be that simple and yet so effective. Here, there and everywhere. Oh, stop it. That Paul McCartney guy is a beautiful soul. 10 out of 10. Yellow Submarine. What can I say? What can you say? It's one of the Beatles' most popular songs. Case closed. And me and my brother Liam have said for years, oh, they should have left Yellow Submarine off the album and replaced it with Rain, and that would have made the album much better, and perhaps it would have, but we can't live in a world without Yellow Submarine. I thought it was interesting that the song started off with the lyrics from John being, in the place where I was born, no one cared, no one cared. And perhaps this song was written about John's father, who was often away at sea, Liverpool of course being a seafaring city too. So maybe the song was drawn from a lot of images of seeing boats come and go. And of course the song, wonderfully sung by Ringo, tells the story of a man who sails to sea. But it's a great record, a fun record to listen to. Sure, it's a bit kiddish, but all of the Beatles and more, there were many guests on this, everyone was in on it. Brian Jones out of the Stones is on the song, Neil Aspinall, Mal Evans is stomping around the studio banging the big bass drum, even the Beatles' chauffeur, Alf Bicknell, is on the song. And the Beatles' Yellow Submarine is a powerful image, synonymous with the group. It's a great song. It's impossible to argue with. The power of Yellow Submarine is immense. Onto She Said, another truly great sounding song. I love the sound of those blazing guitars on the intro. John gets carried away with acid-fueled paranoia. He took the phrase from Peter Fonda, who said, I know what it's like to be dead. And John, who was brilliant at this, took the phrase and turned it into a great song. And I really like the fact that there's a bit of turmoil and angst in John's lyrics when he sings, when I was a boy, everything was right. And I also love the fact that because George is singing with John, it gives it this unique quality. Oh, and I must point out the many cymbal splashes that Ringo plays. Superb. Another 10 out of 10. And so if you're listening on vinyl, that would close the first side of the record. And it's worth pausing for thought here and just marvelling at the variety of the songs on that first side. They're all completely different and completely brilliant in their own right. On to side 2 of the record, and it opens of course with Good Day Sunshine, which is a perfectly pleasant pop song and a perfectly pleasant listen. Paul does the trickly piano part, the ding 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 ding, lovely. And Paul himself said that he drew inspiration for Good Day Sunshine from the Lovin' Spoonful song. Is it called Daydream or What a Day for a Daydream? I've heard the song and Good Day Sunshine doesn't sound anything like it, but again Paul is brilliant at that, where he draws inspiration for a song and takes the feeling of the song or what's good about it and then turns it into something completely original. And Good Day Sunshine is soaked in the summer sun. I can imagine Paul in 1966 skipping around London, happy with his lot. And Your Bird Can Sing is next, and this is another great sounding song. Great guitars, the twin guitar work, John's great vocal, Paul's harmonies. It's so joyful and uplifting and brilliant. And I love John's lyrics here. And your bird can sing, but you don't get me. You can't see me. You can't hear me. John knew he was always going to be misunderstood. And of course it's absolute perfection again, at least to my ears. I always think that this is every guitar band's dream. They wish they could write something as good as this. For No One is next, and this is another gorgeous Paul ballad. And it's interesting because when Paul's singing about something sad, he often gets into character. He does it with Eleanor Rigby, he does it here, he did it later with She's Leaving Home from Sgt. Pepper's. But again, his lyrics here deserve a lot more credit than they get. I love that rhyming couplet, your day breaks, your mind aches. I mean, everyone gets that straight away, and that's it. You're into the song, you're into the character with him, you rub your head and you think, yeah, I know how that feels. Another rhyming couplet with she wakes up, she makes up, she wakes up, puts on her makeup. Just another slightly different way of saying it, but very clever wordplay, I always think. And in her eyes you see nothing, no sign of love behind the tears, cried for no one, a love that should have lasted years. Really sad. It's such a thoughtful and sophisticated lyric from Paul. And of course, I love that French horn solo played by Alan Civil of the London Philharmonia. And so after the sadness of For No One, we get the perfectly sequenced track, Dr. Robert. If you're down, he'll pick you up, Dr. Robert. He's a man you must believe, helping everyone in need. You'll pay money just to see yourself with Dr. Robert. Let's be clear, Dr. Robert is a drug dealer, but Lennon makes it sound all so fantastic, and it's such a jaunty and catchy tune, and I'd take a drink from his special cup. No one can succeed like Dr. Robert. Well, 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 you're feeling fine. It's a great song, and for me, Dr. Robert is the unsung hero of the Revolver album. I Want to Tell You is next, and the third George Harrison composition on this album, unprecedented. Good riff, and this is just simply a good song. Not much depth to it like there is on a lot of the songs on Revolver, but just a good song. Onto the Stax and Motown influenced Got to Get You Into My Life, and another feel-good song where you can almost feel the sun beating down all over it. Paul's soaring vocals ensure that a spring is put firmly in one step. The horns throughout this song are absolutely fantastic, so bright, and is this song an ode to the joys of marijuana? If so, great, because it makes for another brilliant song. On to the grand finale that is Tomorrow Never Knows. Now, Dylan had previously said about the Beatles, oh, so you don't want to be cute anymore? No, sir, these boys are not cute anymore. They have moved to another land completely. Talk about otherworldly. This song truly is a perfect collision of music and drugs and that altered state of mind. Turn off your mind, relax, and float downstream. And all of the tape loops and the studio trickery that were put into making this song, it really is quite possibly the birth of dance music. I really think it is. The repeated phrases, the hypnotic beats, the stoned vocal. When you look back at the music that was being made in 1966, to make a song like Tomorrow Never Knows was an outrageous idea and a daring one, and therefore a truly exciting moment. When John sings Listen to the Colour of Your Dream and repeats it is believing and it is knowing, it absolutely transports you to another place and is endlessly fascinating. And of course it's absolutely brilliant, mind-blowing, and a truly fitting end to this most remarkable album. Revolver is an astounding album that very much captured a moment in time. There was the Beatles before Revolver, and then there was the Beatles after Revolver. It was the moment where everything changed. It was a journey of experimentation and a voyage of discovery. The sound of a band pushing the barrier, planting seeds, to quote another John Lennon lyric. And from those seeds, well, they grew, and well, you know what came next. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave all of your comments below. I'd love to read them, and I'll see you next time.